record it here. Everyone okay with me recording it?
Yes.
Yep.
I think it has started recording, just making sure. Yep, it is recording it. All right, so electrical excitability is seen in which cells? Select all that apply. Again, in your exam, you're not going to get select all that apply. One of them will be correct, or your option will be all of the above or none of the above, and that would be your answer.
This one has me stumped a bit.
I think neurons for sure.
Good job. I remind you of chapter 5, human tissue. We did epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue, nervous system. So neurons, yes, correct.
I
One more
also want to
answer.
say muscle cells too.
Yes. Muscle cell and neurons, that's how they're different from your epithelial and connective tissue. Epithelial and connective tissue don't have electrical excitability.
Is right.
But muscle, remember you did the virtual experiments where you can electrically stimulate the muscle and make it contract?
Yeah.
Yep.
And as your electrical stimulus increases, your contraction becomes stronger till you hit the threshold maximum. You max out all your motor units.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yep.
All right, let's move on to which are okay, let's see this one. It's a structural classification of neurons.
Is that a bipolar neuron?
Good job. Yep. Where do you find bipolar neurons?
Oh, that I don't know.
Special senses. Oops. This is a little bit on the tricky side. Let's see if you can get this one.
This feels not real.
Isn't it C, don't they lose their ability to regenerate neurons?
Well, we don't know that they are regenerating before birth. We know they are differentiating. So regeneration is when they get damaged and they make new neurons. That's regeneration.
Oh, yeah. So then.
So we don't know, like at least I don't know, if neurons have the ability to regenerate before birth. So I don't know if you can do neuron damage in a fetus and the fetus will still make new neurons and make up for the damaged neurons. I don't know that. So in short, no, C is not the right answer.
Could A be the right answer?
A is kind of sort of correct, but that's not the right answer to this. That's why I said this one's tricky.
D?
Yes, D is the right answer. A does seem it's tricky, and I'm not going to give you these kind of tricky questions at the time. This is tricky because A is technically also correct.
I would have picked A.
Right, but remember that myelin sheath is kind of sort of already present when they are born. It increases its presence, and it completes the myelination process by the age of around 1 month. So they increase their presence and amount of myelination in the peripheral nervous system. That's why young children, remember we talked about the Babinski sign that kids, their toes go upwards?
Yes.
And that's why they're not able to walk.
Yeah.
And once the myelination is complete, then the Babinski sign goes away and their toes grip the ground and they have better stability and they can walk. And the coordination is much better. Therefore, demyelinating disorders, they go back to getting their Babinski sign as if they're newborn infants, and they lose their coordination and they can't walk properly. Okay, this one should be simple. Oops.
I central nervous system. I feel like I just went over this. Oh my gosh.
I want to say it's one of the matters.
I was thinking white matter, but I'm probably wrong. I just went over this like literally this
What
weekend.
is white matter? Who wants to tell me what is white matter? Ana Lucia, what is white matter?
I don't know if she's there.
She was there, as soon as I asked her the question, she backed out.
This it's the wait, it's not the gray. So the white matter, it has all like the nerve ax like it's makes up most of the axons, correct? The
White
myelin.
matter is literally the multiple layers of the myelin sheath around the axon. That is your white matter.
Right. So that's why I'm saying white
This is
matter
an easy
because
question. This is an easy question.
so is it B and I'm overthinking it?
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay.
Just read
Overthinking
the
it.
question carefully. Which type of central nervous system tissue? Number one, ganglia. Are ganglions in your central nervous system?
No.
No. So that's out.
Right.
Niscal body. Is that a tissue in the nervous system?
No.
No.
No, it's inside each neuron. It's inside the it's an intracellular structure. So it's not a tissue. Niscal body is not a tissue. It's an
Right.
organism inside the nerve. So two are out. C and D are out. You're left with gray matter and white matter. If you knew what white matter was, that means it's just those multiple layers of the Schwann cell around the axon. You
Oh,
know,
it's gray
not the
matter.
cell body. So white matter is out. So even without reading the rest of it, central nervous tissue that contains neuronal cell body, period, right there, it's gray matter. Get it?
Yep.
So the answer is
Got
gray
it.
matter. What makes gray matter gray is the absence of myelin sheaths. The
And it's
presence of
unmyelinated
myelin
X.
sheath is white matter, absence of myelin sheath is gray matter. And when you don't have myelin sheath, what you got left? You got cell bodies and dendrites and stuff left, unmyelinated neurons. Get it?
Right. Oh, so I was thinking way too much into it.
Very common mistake. Don't overthink it. Keep it simple. Don't make it more complicated than it is.
No part of this is simple.
Right.
Okay, let's see. All of the following statements are true for which type of cell? Okay. All of the following statements are true for which type of cell? Has a charge imbalance across the cell membrane, includes most cells of the body, exhibits a membrane potential, inside is more negative relative to the outside.
Polarized cell.
Good
It's got to
job.
be B.
Fantastic, Kate. Good job.
The logical sense to me is B.
Does everyone agree? Anyone wants to disagree?
If it's
I know.
depolarized, my brain just says that means it's less polarized.
Exactly.
Yeah, it
Depolarization
makes
is
it,
going up
yeah.
and then repolarization is coming down. So it's becoming less polarized. It's coming towards zero because resting membrane potential is negative, right?
Yep.
And so when sodium comes in, it's depolarizing. That means it's coming closer to zero. It's becoming less polarized.
It would be E, correct?
Ligand gated. Where's your ligand? What's your ligand here?
Oh wait, when a greater
I
potential
I
made
think it's D.
Yes, Kate, it's D.
of volt. Oh
Your
wait.
ligand gated means you need a ligand. You need something to stimulate it. So you have ligand gated channels are found in your dendrites or sometimes on your soma if it's a
Mhm.
axiosomatic um, synapse or if it's a neuromuscular synapse, right? So for ligand
Right.
gated channels to open, you need a ligand, either a neurotransmitter or some stimulus.
Oh, right.
That's
You're
what
right.
ligand gated means a ligand has to stimulate and the gate opens. But in this case, they're talking about a graded potential. Graded potential is electrical. So your voltage gated channels open. And in case of a neuron, now your IPSPs are your ligand gated and they can open chloride channels and negative. But at the axon hillock, when you hit threshold, it's always voltage gated sodium channels. That's the difference between your graded potential and your action potential. Your graded potential on your dendrites and your cell body, that is ligand gated. And that could be a depolarization. And in case of neurons, it could be a hyperpolarization, right? If your GABAergic receptor binds to the channel on the dendrite, it will allow chloride to come in. It will make the resting membrane potential even more negative. It will get hyperpolarized. That is your IPSPs.
Right. It's
Sense?
this part I remember was so much easier when I was looking at the what's it called? The pictures.
Right.
The videos, yeah.
Right. So
Okay.
at the axon hillock, when you hit threshold, you always have voltage gated sodium channels opening. Your ligand gated calcium channels, there's no ligand here when you have a greater potential. It's electrical. So all your ligand ones, your A, C, and E are out because there's no ligand there. You only have voltage. And voltage gated calcium, you don't have that much calcium outside. You've got more sodium outside. So it's always a voltage gated sodium channel that opens. Voltage gated calcium channels open when you're in a muscle, when your action potential from the sarcolemma enters into the T tubule. That's where you have voltage gated calcium channels opening. Then calcium gets released inside the cell that goes and binds to tropon and tropomyosin. That's where we do voltage gated calcium channels. Get it? And the other place
Got
we
it.
get voltage gated calcium channels is at the synaptic end bulb. When the action potential has come all the way down the axon at the synaptic end bulb, then you have voltage gated calcium channels that open, and then the vesicles will be stimulated to undergo exocytosis, releasing the neurotransmitter into the synapse.
I think I just did that lab like within the past 48 hours. There was a lab that we did specifically that showed that.
Correct. Where the action potential comes down, your calcium, your voltage gated calcium channel opens, and that
Mhm.
causes exocytosis and then the release of neurotransmitter. And you did that lab even when you did neuromuscular junction.
Right.
Okay, a couple more and then we'll move on to the next chapter.
Okay. Neurotransmitter. Would it be C since it's excitatory? Would it
I
hyperpolarize it?
literally just talked about this.
Oh, this
EPSPs, what do they do? And IPSPs, what do they do?
IPSPs hyperpolarize and EPSPs depolarize, but I don't understand the relation between those and excitatory neurotransmitters.
Excitatory neurotransmitters excite. Excitatory EPSP, excitatory postsynaptic impulse.
Oh, so it's literally saying, what does an EPSP do?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's
then it's
depolarizes.
Yes.
depolarizing.
Yes. Excitatory neurotransmitters will cause excitation. Excitation happens because of depolarization. Inhibitory neurotransmitter will cause hyperpolarization.
We did talk about that in class, and I remember I even said I always get
I
that confused.
literally said
When
that 30 seconds
just
ago.
said that, yeah.
Right? Excitatory neurotransmitters will cause depolarization. That is what EPSP is.
Got it.
Inhibitory neurotransmitters like your chloride, the neurotransmitters that open your chloride channels. Those synapses are called IPSPs because they cause hyperpolarization. And you cannot call that repolarization because repolarization is always following depolarization. But when you never had depolarization, you can't have repolarization. Get it? So from resting membrane potential, if you become more negative, it's hyperpolarization. When from resting membrane potential, you become less negative, it's depolarization.
Polarization. Got it.
Let me see if I can find a tricky one for you. Okay, I'm not going to give you this in exam, but let's see if you can answer this. It copies it properly. Oh, here you go. Can you see this?
Yes. Diagram represents the circuits of algorithms.
First, tell me what are the different kinds of circuits? What kind of circuit is A? Can you name the circuits?
Is it multi?
A branching circuit? I don't know.
What's another word for branching?
Splitting?
Another word?
Uh,
That's with
not
the D.
Dissecting?
Dissecting is when you're taking it apart. We're not dissecting it.
Okay, I give up.
Divergent.
divergent. Dang it.
So what is B?
Invergent?
What's the opposite of diverging? That's with C.
Invulgent?
Convergent, yes. So A is divergent. You have one neuron stimulating multiple neurons. So it's divergent, right?
Mhm.
And B is convergent. Many neurons are converging onto one neuron. What is C?
A cyclical circuit?
What's a
Cyclical
circle?
means it'll be one circle.
One circle.
Here you've got multiple feedback loops reverberating,
Oh.
Oh,
right? Because you see how the neuron at the bottom is sending impulses back to the ones on top, even the one in the middle is sending impulses back to the one before it. So it's sending impulses back to the presynaptic neuron. And that's how all of our feedback loops work. It's reverberating. What is D?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's a great question.
I talked about it in class. So, and let me share with you what I said in class if that helps
Okay,
you.
yeah.
Can you see my mouse?
Yep.
Yes.
This neuron on top once it sends an action potential between this neuron and the one at the bottom, there's literally only one synapse here. But the collateral axons, through this path on the left, you got two other neurons. You've got one more synapse here and then a second synapse. So this central pathway, there's only one synapse. The pathway on the left, there are two synapses. Pathway on the right, you've got 1, 2, 3 synapses. So what happens to the time between the action potential from the first neuron to reach the third neuron?
Doesn't it slow down because they have to go through so many?
Yes. So when this neuron fires once, this bottom neuron gets 3 separate impulses. The
Okay.
first one fastest through the central circuit, soon after that followed by a second one through the circuit on the left, followed by a third one from the circuit on the right, because there's a little delay at each synapse. So one firing from this neuron will result in 3 firings onto this neuron.
Mhm.
And so this is called a parallel circuit.
I do remember that now.
Right? Divergent, convergent, reverberating, and a parallel circuit. So when you're solving algorithms in geometry, what kind of circuit do you think you're using?
It feels like the reverberating one.
Reverberating means it'll be, okay, I solved the problem. I don't need to think about it anymore. That's feedback loop. That means this
So
neuron
then,
achieve what this neuron wanted it to achieve. So it sends an impulse back saying, stop stimulating me, I solved the problem.
mhm.
So
So
most
then,
of our critical thinking process actually uses D. We use this for solving algorithms in geometry.
okay. I was gonna guess B, but
As I said, I'm not going to ask you these kind of questions in the exam. I was just,
it's good for like critical, like it gets you thinking almost like.
yes, that's the whole point of knowing this stuff. Okay. Let me ask you more simple, straightforward questions. What are the most common type of neurons found in the body? Structural classification.
Multipolar.
Yay, Kate, good job. You can label a neuron, all the parts of a neuron, right? Dendrite, neurosoma,
Yes.
axon hillock, axon, Schwann cell, synaptic end bulb.
Yes.
Most of those, yes. I feel like 75% of that I can do.
You can label the figure with all the different types of glial cells in the central nervous system. Name the 4 types of glial cells in the central nervous system.
Neuroglial,
They're all
micro.
neuroglial cells. What's A? Make sure you can label this diagram. If your nervous system is 100 point on your lab, you're going to practically get every single figure
Yes.
in your slide. So just make sure you can label all those figures,
Okay.
right? Since you only have 5 chapters in your exam, and you're going to have predominantly figures in your lab exam, it's going to be a lot of figures. So make sure you know how to label all your figures. A is your oligodendrocyte. Remember I said, remember that as an octopus with this
Oh,
tentacle
yes.
coming out and wrapping around the axons? That's your oligodendrocyte. B is your astrocyte. C is your neuron. Sorry, B is your microglial cell. D is your astrocyte, forming your blood-brain barrier. D is the nucleus of the astrocyte, E is the astrocyte, and F is your ependymal cells.
Got it.
Make sure you know the functions of all of these cells.
I don't know why I get these confused. The ependymal, those produce the fluid, correct?
CSF, correct.
Okay, I don't know why that in the astrocytes, that's like the blood-brain barrier.
Correct.
Right. Okay. All right. Got it. I don't know why in my head I keep flipping
Who
those.
can tell me the difference between spatial summation and temporal summation?
Everything summation related is evading my brain.
Sorry, say that again.
Everything summation related is evading my brain.
Spatial summation means in space the stimuli coming from different places all simultaneously. Try to remember it that way.
Okay.
Spatial summation is the summation of your postsynaptic potentials in response to stimuli that are occurring at different locations on the membrane of a postsynaptic cell, but all at the same time. So many neurons are firing onto one neuron at the same time. That is your spatial summation. And so each one adds up and comes to threshold. Or if some are IPSPs and some are EPSPs, they can cancel each other out. There's no threshold, there's no action potential. Get it?
Got it.
Temporal summation is when one presynaptic neuron is firing repeatedly at the postsynaptic neuron. And your graded potential, the grade can be summated. And so they all piggyback on top of each other to reach threshold, and then there's an action potential. Get it?
I remember that.
So spatial means they're coming from different places in space. Try to remember it that way. Many
And
neurons from
temporal
different places in space are coming onto one postsynaptic neuron all at the same time, so they're all adding up together. So that is your spatial summation. Temporal summation means the same neurons firing again and again and again and again, very close to each other. So each stimulus, each response, if you will, is adding up on the previous one, just like how we see in the muscle. And the muscle goes into tetany. Here, the neuron doesn't go into tetany. They add up to hit threshold. Once they hit threshold, there's an action potential. Got it?
Yep.
Okay, let's move on to the next chapter. Name the three meningeal layers
The
in
dura
order from
mater,
outer to inner. Who wants to go? Kate?
the dura mater for sure. I know that that's a part. The pia mater's on the inside.
Dura is outside, pia is inside. What's in between the two?
I don't remember.
Arachnoid. Arachnoid matter.
Right.
So outermost dura, middle arachnoid, innermost pia mater. Which structure contains the cerebrospinal fluid? What space has the cerebrospinal fluid? Epidural, subdural, subarachnoid.
Epidural? It's the ventricles have this cerebrospinal fluid in them.
Ventricles make the cerebrospinal fluid, yes. That was not your choice.
What were the choices again? I feel like I'm getting this confused with something else, and I shouldn't. Oh, there it is. Okay, I see it. Sorry. Oh, the subarachnoid space.
Yes, subarachnoid. Remember, CSF is found both inside the cranial cavity and in the spinal column, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Spinal column has an epidural space. The cranium does not. So CSF cannot be in your epidural space, right?
Gotcha.
Right.
Spinal cord does not have a subdural space, but the cranial cavity does. So again, your CSF cannot be in your subdural space either because one has it and the other doesn't have it. So epidural and subdural are out. There is no space between the pia mater and the brain because the pia mater is tightly adherent to the outer surface of the brain, right? So the only one that's left is now your subarachnoid space, right?
Yep.
That's the space that is consistent between the cranial cavity and the spinal canal. So if I give you a cross section through the spinal cord, you'll be able to label all the structures, right? Like the body of the vertebra,
Yes.
epidural space,
Be able to do most of
sheath,
that, yes.
subarachnoid space, pia mater, denticulate ligament, the gray matter and the white matter.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like I have a pretty good general understanding for most of the things, but I don't have anything 100% down packed.
That's how it always feels. But remember, your exam is all multiple choice questions, so you don't have to de novo come up with the answer. You have to be able to recognize the right answer.
Cauda equina? I don't know, I'm gonna pass
Cauda
it.
equina is the nerves that come
Oh.
out of the spinal cord.
Nerves that supply the thigh.
So those nerves, once they've come out of the spinal cord, they're called the cauda equina. But where are they coming out from? You see what I'm saying?
The vagus nerve, right?
Mm-mm.
Travel down from there.
Okay, tell me what is so cauda equina, as I said, it's just a bunch of nerves that came out from the distal end of the spinal cord. Cauda
Mhm.
equina just means a horse's tail. So those nerves looks like hair on the horse's tail. So that's the nerves itself. Where do these nerves come out from? What part of the spinal cord did they come out from?
The lumbar enlargement?
Yes, lumbar enlargement.
Mhm.
What about the nerves that supply the upper limbs?
The
Where do
cervical enlargement.
cervical enlargement? Yes, that's the reason why there are two enlargements in the spinal cord. Why is there no enlargement in the thoracic region of the spinal cord?
That's a good question.
Well,
Because
because
there's
I
no
think that
plexus.
area,
There's
the
no
cervical,
plexus there. We have a cervical plexus,
yeah.
radial plexus for all these nerves that go up to the upper limb. We have a lumbar plexus and sacral plexus for all
There's
those.
no
But there's
there's
no
no nerve.
plexus in the thoracic region. Each spinal nerve serves one intercostal region of the thorax. So there's no plexus, there's no network of nerves. When there's no network of nerves, there are less cell bodies there. And it's the presence of a lot of cell bodies that cause the enlargement of the cervical and the lumbar region. Get it?
Got it.
I remember doing all of the stuff on pain yesterday, and it's
Don't overthink it. Simple. This is so if these structures were severed, the nerve impulses from pain and stretch receptors would not reach the central nervous system.
the
So
rami
rephrase it.
communicants.
Rama communicans is to do with the autonomic nervous system. Basically, what structures bring your sensory input into the central nervous system? What nerves? Where do your sensory input? Where's your sensory input coming in?
The anterior root.
That's your motor root.
Ugh.
Anterior is motor. So where is sensory?
The
Posterior then
Yes,
would be
posterior
the
to the
opposite.
spinal, right? All your sensory input comes in from the posterior posterior ganglion and posterior root, and then goes into posterior rootlets. And your anterior rootlets and anterior root is all motor, both somatic motor and autonomic. Rami communicans is pure autonomic. That is going to your, not even autonomic, specifically sympathetic ganglion is your Rami communicans, going to your paravertebral sympathetic ganglion. Make sure you can label that figure of a nerve, your axon, endoneurium, perineurium, epineurium, and all that stuff.
I remember going over this. Why am I drawing a blank today?
Yep,
Is it
same.
where it would have to be, if it's the outer meninx layer, it would have to be the epineurium, E.
Job. Yes, epineurium. Very good. Here, select all that apply. There's more than one correct one here.
So if it's wrapped, then that means it's myelinated. So it's 1 and 3. Right? Wrong.
1 and 3. Dendrites are myelinated?
Oh, no. So would it be 1 and 2? I know it's 1, right? I'm not losing it.
Yes. 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Yeah, because don't they all have endoneurium?
Everything has endoneurium. Yep.
Right.
Myelinated in a myelinated nerve, the endoneurium wraps around the axon and the Schwann cell.
And the Schwann cell,
And
yeah.
unmyelinated is just pretty much the nerve cell, which only has one single layer of the Schwann cell around it, not the multiple layers.
Got it.
Okay, this is more like a clinical application question. Make sure you know which nerve, like radial nerve palsy will cause a wrist drop, carpal tunnel syndrome is because of median nerve. So make sure you know a couple of those clinical application of some of the important nerves.
Is it the dorsal scapular nerve?
Okay, where is, so they're saying the person was unable to pronate. Where does pronation take place?
At your elbow.
Where does
The radius and the ulna.
Exactly, radius and ulna. So dorsal scapular nerve is up here on your
That's in the
scapula.
back.
So that's out. We're not, intercostal is in between your costal margin. That's again in your thorax. So that's out. You're not even
So yeah, E.
supplies your diaphragm. So that's out. So A, B, and C are out right then. If you know where pronation is taking place, it's taking place between your radius and your ulna, not in
So
your
E.
scapula, not in your diaphragm,
Radial.
intercostal space. So now you're stuck with median and radial.
I say E.
Radial only supplies the extensor aspect of your hand, right? So it's not radial nerve, it's the median nerve in front here that supplies your compartment, right? You may see a few questions with this kind of clinical application. So what sensation are we talking about here?
Isn't it equilibrium?
Being aware of their body movement and position. Equilibrium is maintaining balance. So in order to maintain balance, you have to be aware of the body's position. So what helps you be aware of the body's position? It's called proprioception. So proprioceptor or proprioception pathway, where does it go? In class, I gave you that if this part of the spinal cord is damaged, when the patient closes their eyes, they lose their balance. They have a positive Romberg sign.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was just last class. What was that called? I might have to cheat and look at my notes. Give me a second.
I genuinely don't know.
Posterior column tract lesions. Posterior column tract lesions cause positive Romberg sign.
Posterior.
So that's your posterior white column.
Okay.
And posterior white column is made up of two fasciculi, your gray cell fasciculus and your cunate fasciculus. This is an easy one. Please get this one right.
Now I'm nervous.
My eyes went like,
Sensory information travels to the brain.
ascending tracks.
There you go. Good job. I'm like, if y'all don't get this right, I have to go jump off a cliff.
I said that so unconfidently just because of how much emphasis you put on it.
Right.
I'm not sure of the answer to this one.
Hira? Okay, here's an exam taking strategy. Vestibulospinal. It starts in your vestibule. Vestibules in your inner ear, they help you with your equilibrium body position sensation. We're not talking about
Right.
that here, right? So we're talking about descending track. Gray cell fasciculus is an ascending track. That's out, right?
Oh, I remember this. So this would be, wait.
So amongst the descending tracks, we already ruled out gray cell because that's an ascending track. So that's out. Vestibulospinal helps you with equilibrium. So that's out. Reticulospinal. Reticulum is that gray zone area that helps you with being conscious and unconscious and respiratory center and cardiac center and all that stuff. We're not talking about that. So that's out. Spinothalamic. Spinothalamic is also in ascending track. So that's out.
Yeah, so then B.
We ruled out gray cell, we ruled out spinothalamic, we ruled out reticular, we ruled out vestibular spinal. You only
so
have one
B.
left, corticospinal. From your motor cortex down to your spine, your only descending track that helps you with your motor movements, with your hands and legs moving for sewing, sign language, etc. Right?
Yeah, that's another one that I'm really, when I'm
So
looking at it and I have the diagram,
you
I'm
don't
good.
have to know the right answer, just know which ones are not the right answers. Rule them out. Gray cell and spinothalamic are both ascending tracks. They're not descending tracks. So that's out. And vestibular and reticular are taking care of other functions, not your sewing and sign language function, not your motor functions, your somatic motor functions. Your somatic motor functions is your corticospinal tract. Kate, does that help you, that strategy?
Yeah, it
Definitely.
does.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm familiar with all of these words, and yet I don't feel like I know them well enough yet.
Right. So use that strategy. You may not always know the answer. That's the huge advantage of having multiple choice questions. If it was an open-ended question, that would be a lot more difficult. But when you have choices in front of you, at least rule out the ones that you know that are not right.
It's true.
All right, now we have the same choices, but a different question. And I answered that while answering the previous question.
So this one does not have to do with equilibrium?
It does have to do with equilibrium. This
Then
is
the answer is
maintaining
A.
body posture. Yes, yes, good job. All right, let's see. We'll do a couple more, then we move on to the last chapter.
Sounds good. The anterior root because it's motor, right?
And nerve impulse initiated at the muscle. So it started at the muscle.
So then it's B.
Correct.
No. Yeah.
So any impulse that starts at the muscle and has to go to the central nervous system, it's a sensory branch, right?
Okay.
And sensory branch always goes in through the posterior root. Anterior root is motor. Tectospinal is again motor. Gray commissure is it's crossing over again inside, it's in the interneuron or something. It's in the gray matter. It's not part of your sensory. And lateral reticulospinal is again motor, right?
It's either A or C.
I see why you think it's A. You are kind of sort of warm, but you are mixing up your concept. Remember, A means you are stimulating your quadriceps femoris and you're inhibiting your antagonistics. That's your hamstrings.
Right.
So yes, the concept is antagonistic, inhibition of the antagonistic, but from a reflex arc point of view, remember we did numerous arcs. We did your simple spinal arc, a simple arc that is your sensory nerve, interneuron, motor nerve, right? Then
Yep.
we did the reciprocal inhibition, and then we did withdrawal reflex, and then we did cross extensor reflex. So which one of these four is this? In your four types of reflex arc, your simple, straightforward reflex arc with sensory interneuron and motor neuron, your reciprocal inhibition, your cross extensor, and your withdrawal reflex. Out of these four, which one is this?
I don't know why in my head I'm thinking it should be motor innervation, but that's not an option. So I am at a loss.
Katie, you want to rethink your answer?
Yeah, I'm trying. It's just, it doesn't make any more sense than it did a couple minutes ago.
Reciprocal inhibition. So when we were talking about muscles, we said when you stimulate your flexors, your antagonistics are inhibited. They are inhibited because of your reciprocal innervation, reciprocal inhibition. So D is the right answer.
Okay.
So your antagonistic effector, that is when we were doing muscles. When your flexors are stimulated, your extensors are inhibited. When your extensors are stimulated, your flexors are inhibited. And the kind of innervation that makes that happen is your reciprocal inhibition. So D is the answer for this one. Let us move on to the next chapter, brain. Can you name the 4 major regions of the brain? Anybody?
The brainstem, the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and there's one more that I'm forgetting.
Cerebrum, cerebellum, brainstem. What's
Yeah.
between the cerebrum and the brainstem?
Does it start with an M? No.
Starts
No,
with T.
because the midbrain is part of the brainstem.
Correct. Midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata are part of your brain.
Part of the stem.
So what's between the cerebrum and the brainstem?
Why in my head are they just connected?
The thalamus, the hypothalamus?
You're getting warm, yes. What are they part of? What's the hypothalamus and thalamus part of?
Oh, it
It's
starts
not-
with a D.
Yes,
Oh no, I remember looking at that going, that's a weird word. What is that?
a second brain. Translate that into Latin.
Oh, dicephalus something.
Diencephalon, that's
Di-
right. So you have the
All right, well, if it was a
cerebrum.
multiple choice question, we'd have it. There we go.
I was gonna say, if I would have saw that on paper, I would have had it.
Right. So cerebrum,
Diencephalon.
diencephalon, brainstem, and then your cerebellum. So the medulla oblongata, pons, and midbrain are part of what part of your brain?
Brainstem.
Good job. Thalamus, hypothalamus, and epithalamus are part of?
The diaphencyclone thing.
Good job. The 2 layers of the dura mater?
White matter and gray matter.
Ah,
No, wait. No, sorry. Wait, the dura matter. Crap. I just
2
made fun.
layers of the dura mater in the cranial cavity.
Ay, Dios. Give me a hint. Because I know this. Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
One is tightly adherent to the inner surface of the bones of the cranium.
Oh, the meningeal and the starts with a P.
Yes.
Posterior? No. It sounds like that. It looks like that.
Paralymph,
Periosteal.
Periosteal. I had it.
Periosteal and meningeal. In places where there's a space between these 2 layers of the meninges, what are they called?
This is the white and the gray matter.
No, we're still in the meninges. The space between the periosteal and meningeal layer of the dura mater
the
makes up what?
subarachnoid space.
Not subarachnoid, that's below this arachnoid mater. We're still in the dura mater.
I don't know. I resign.
The sinuses, sagittal sinus,
Oh,
where that's where all the venous, not all, most of the venous blood and all of your CSF drains out into, right?
yeah.
Okay.
The lateral ventricle.
Good
I didn't even
job.
see this. Sorry.
Yes. Because the aqueduct of the midbrain is in the midbrain. The 4th ventricle is where the cerebellum is on one side, and then they're all in the cerebral hemisphere is only your lateral ventricle.
Everything else is too low.
Yes. Uh,
The aqueduct.
Good job.
This is the finger-like projections is the microvilli. Oh wait, no. No, wait, this isn't the blood one. I was thinking on like the outside of the cell.
I want to say the arachnoid villi.
Yep, arachnoid villi. Good job.
I had the wrong villi, sorry.
I think a book also called them arachnoid granulations.
Yes.
Yep.
APR also calls it that. I think it's either C or D, but I don't remember which one it is.
Sensation of the posterior part of the tongue and sensation of anterior two-thirds of the tongue. That's your sensory neuron. That's your facial nerve and your hypoglossal nerves. Trigeminal is your fifth nerve. Ophthalmic, maxillary, and mandibular.
Trigeminal ophthalmic branch. The ophthalmic branch is throwing me off.
They will lose their pain, temperature, and touch sensation.
Oh.
Loss of smell will be your first cranial nerve.
And can you go back to that one? I just want to I'm trying to get the concepts as well as like the thought process through that.
Here, let me do this instead. Let
Because
me.
that one I vague it usually it clicks once you say it. It's like, oh yeah, but then that one that was a
I'll
little.
tell you what will click is if you see the picture. Remember this?
Aha.
That's
Yes.
that's your ophthalmic division of your trigeminal nerve.
I do. Let me screenshot. Okay. Got it. I'll be sure to re-go over this. Yes, I do remember this now.
Oh, this one's going to be tricky, not this one. I won't give you this. I won't ask you questions that I won't ask in the exam. Okay. This is not tricky, but let's see if you know this one.
Oh, I just went over this and it left my brain.
The answer is in the question.
It's it is
The pons!
Yes,
yeah.
pontine respiratory group, right? Pontine respiratory group means a respiratory group in the pons because we have many respiratory centers. So again, be very, very careful. These kind of questions, the answer is in the question. comparing the brain to the cerebellum. That's what this question is. It's comparing the cerebrum to the cerebellum, the features on the cerebrum to the cerebellum.
Okay.
I want to say A.
Yep, good job. Yep. Folia are to gyri as arbor vitae is to tracts.
That makes
Arbor
sense.
vitae is the white part in the cerebellum. That's all your tracts in the cerebrum, the white matter, right? And folia are the little grooves in the cerebellum. That's your gyri in the cerebrum.
This feels like a trick question.
No, it's not. We did this in class, both lecture and lab.
Yeah, I was gonna say this definitely looks familiar. I'm just trying to spinal cerebral tract axons.
So
I want to
first
say
of all,
Is it
spinocerebellar, is it ascending, descending?
ascending.
ascending?
Okay. Anterior lobe and posterior lobes. Do they have
Posterior.
tracks to the
No.
cerebellum? No, we don't talk about
No.
tracks to the cerebellum in the anterior and posterior lobe. So they're out, right? So now we are left with A, B, and C.
So my first guess was going to be C since cerebellar is superior to pretty much everything else. So I was gonna say C. No.
B, the superior cerebellar peduncle is the one that sends out motor impulses from the cerebellum to the cerebrum, telling the cerebrum that, hey, the body's not doing exactly what you asked it to do, so modify your motor impulses a little bit to make it accurate and smooth.
So then I need to flip it. It needs to be A then.
Correct. So inferior cerebral peduncle is getting sensations from the rest of the body. The rest of the body is lower down, right? So all the sensations coming to the body, to the cerebellum from the lower part from the body is coming in through the inferior tract. The middle one is getting information from the cerebrum. So middle and inferior tracts are input tracts going into the cerebellum. And cerebellum then looks and compares, is the body doing what the brain asked it to do? And when there's a discrepancy between the two, then through the superior cerebellar peduncle, it sends impulses to the cerebral cortex that, hey, the body's not doing what you asked it to do, fix it. Get it? So inferior and middle cerebellar peduncles are sensory pathways into the cerebellum, and the superior cerebellar peduncle is motor, is going out of the cerebellum. Kate, does that ring a bell?
Yes.
The key word here is most sensory information. Where does most of your sensory information relay first before it goes into the cerebral cortex? The grand central station.
The hypothalamus.
Mm-mm-mm.
The pons.
Mm-mm-mm.
The thalamus.
Yes, the thalamus. That's your
Oh my
grand
God,
central station.
Anna's alive.
All your sensory, most of your sensory information relays in the thalamus, and then the thalamus decides what has to be sent up to the cerebral cortex and what needs to be ignored. This comes under the easy category. So make sure you know these basics. This is, again, super easy question.
Projection tracks, right? Because associated tracks are within the same hemisphere.
So they're asking the following conducts nerve impulses. Projection tracks are the ones that project. Those are all your ascending and descending tracks are your projection tracks. They're asking between the two hemispheres. Association tracks connect different regions within the same hemisphere. So it's not projection, it's not ascending tracks. Basal nuclei make up your gray matter, so that's not even a track.
Right.
Septum pellucidum is a septum. It's not even white matter or gray matter. It's literally a septum that separates the two lateral ventricles. So
I thought the word like corpus, I thought this was like the corpus something.
corpus callosum. Corpus callosum is commissural tracts.
Oh, then I was overthinking it. E.
So when you take a mid-sagittal section, that in that horizontal C-shaped thing, that's your corpus callosum made up of commissural
Right.
tracts that are going between the two hemispheres.
Okay, I was reading it weird, I guess.
You're right, it is corpus callosum, but what is corpus callosum made up of? It's made up of commissural tracts. Tracks that are connecting the left and right hemispheres.
The Broca's area.
Good job. Two of them are correct in this one.
The abductans.
D.
Abducent, yes.
There we go.
C and D.
See, indeed, vestibulocochlear is the sensory nerve coming from your ear.
I
Oh,
think
wait,
it's
A. Wait. Because A, right? Because it's ocular motor.
Oculomotor supplies more than one muscle. So oculomotor supplies four muscles, four extraocular muscles of the eye, but it also supplies the ciliary muscles and the pupillary muscles inside the eye. So that supplies a lot more than just one muscle.
Isn't it C and E?
C and what?
E.
Yes. SO4 LR6, remember? Superior oblique is supplied by the fourth
Oh,
and lateral rectus by the sixth cranial nerve. Kate, pressure's on you. We talked about this at the end of class with your dad and stuff.
Oh.
Can I take a guess? Can I phone?
Yeah.
Can she phone a friend? Is it E? Because that has to do with
vagus
digestive.
nerve.
Okay.
Remember, all the other cranial nerves stay in the head and neck region. Vagus nerve is called vagus. It's your vagrant nerve. Las Vegas is the city of the vagrants. Right? Vagus nerve is your vagrant nerve that wanders out of the head and neck region, wanders into the thorax, and wanders into the abdomen. It supplies all the structures in the thorax and the abdomen, right? It'll be the same thing. Which cranial nerve will decrease your heart rate, will decrease your blood pressure, will increase your, will cause bronchodilation, and will decrease gastrointestinal secretion. All that is your vagus nerve. It's the only cranial nerve that supplies your viscera. Other cranial nerves do not supply your viscera. They stay in the head and neck region. They can cause increase, decrease in secretion of tears and stuff and saliva, but that's about it. All right. Any other questions?
Nope, I'm good.
You good?
Yep. I took notes. I'm just definitely gonna, I know what to focus on, which is the good part. And I just have to remember to like certain things I see in the diagrams, I have it, but I have to be able to have it also
Make
shown in the
sure you also are aware of things like, okay, we know the first cranial nerve is responsible for sense of smell. So if it is damaged, what happens? You lose your sense of smell. What is that called? Anosmia, not able to smell. Second cranial nerve is responsible for sight. So if you lose, if an optic nerve gets damaged, if one whole optic nerve gets damaged, you become blind in that eye. But if the damage is behind the optic chiasm, you get hemianopia. Half the visual field of each eye is lost. It's called hemianopia. Again, there are many different types of hemianopias. I'm not going to get into that. Third cranial nerve. So what the damage to each cranial nerve, what does it cause? You may see questions on that, right? So you need to know what each cranial nerve does, and therefore when it's damaged, what it's not able to do, what that condition is called. And make sure you're able to label diagrams. Like if you have the base of the brain, all the cranial nerves coming out of it, make sure you can label them. What else? Damage to which cranial nerve can cause death?
Oh, we went over this. Oh,
One that helps with respiration.
So which cranial nerve is that?
I'm trying to remember.
oh, wait, don't tell me. It's on the tip of my tongue. Crap, we went over this.
Which cranial nerve?
The vagus nerve?
Yes. Vagus nerve supplies your heart and your lungs and your intestine and everything. The other nerves stay in your head and neck region. So they don't cause death. The only one that can cause death is your vagus nerve damage. Again, both your vagus nerves have to be damaged to cause death, not just one. Alrighty,
Yep.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Appreciate
Take
it.
care.
Yep, see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.